Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another, it's going to be an absolutely beautiful day here at the Lazy T, and we are excited for it. So we've had quite a nice little stretch here lately of good weather, so I've been jumping on things as quick as I can here, especially on the outside of cabin 2. If you've been following along, my primary, what I've been working on primarily is cabin 2. Getting the roof done and kind of getting it dried in, to say. I know I don't have windows or a door on it or anything like that yet, but the deck that has been sitting there for months now is no longer getting wet, so that is great. But I have moved on since we have last talked, and one of the things, I don't know if you can see it here in the background, I've got metal sitting on the ground. In fact, a couple places here. So one of the things I did this past week was obviously order the metal, and they actually called the day of, maybe 2 hours it took them to punch out all of this metal, and it's great. So that's what we're going to be working on today, because I've gotten quite a bit done, like I said, since we last talked. But let's take a look at the cabin, and let me kind of update you on how things look right now. So here's the front of cabin 2. So you can see now I've got fascia and little shadow boards kind of all around. I've got this arch. I've got the front of those 2x4s covered over. So, and then there's another trim piece that's up there along the top. So it has really come along to getting more of a finished look to it, which is great. And let me back up a little bit here. And also see one of the things I worked on this week a little bit here. You can see on the top there, all that strapping that is up there. The roof is ready to get metal put on it. So that's, like I said, that's what we're going to work on today. Primarily the back of the cabin, which should be the easiest section to work on, because it is all straight. There's no crazy cutouts or the dormer or everything. The difficult part for me is going to be on the front. So I want to get this backside done. Yesterday afternoon, I put up the drip edge up there. So that's nailed in and ready to go. First thing I'm going to do this morning is put up my string line. If you guys watched before, watch me put metal on there. I run a string line across, and I use that to help me line up the metal as I go across. So besides running that drip edge and everything, which is super easy, I went ahead and drilled my holes into the sheet metal that I'm going to use here on the back. So once I get that string up, this metal is ready to go. I shouldn't be waiting on anything. It's probably just after 8 o'clock in the morning here. The sun's just peeking up through the trees, and it's a little cold. I'm going to avoid getting actually on the metal panels on the roof until things warm up and dry out a little bit, because the metal, when it's cool like this, it's slick as snot. So I avoid that, and I should be able to stay on the underlayment or out here on the edge on the ladder to get all of the screws in that I need. So again, we'll play it by ear, and we'll just go with what we got. So that's primarily what we're looking at this morning. So it's going to be string line and then metal along the back. Hopefully that should be able to get that done before lunch, I would hope. And then we're going to have to start looking at the metal for the front, and that's, like I said, it's quite a different story with that dormer and stuff that's up on front there. I've got a valley here. I've never done anything here with a valley or really cutting angles on this metal and whatnot. I've got a nibbler, so I should be able to cut it, or a grinder. I could cut it. Being able to do that is not really the issue. It's really just kind of lining everything up and getting the right measurements and stuff. So we'll see what we get into. Let's get it, guys. All right, gang, just got the string taut across the drip line of the back side of cabin 2 here. I just want to show you kind of how this goes. So I've got this is a piece of strapping. It's relatively long, certainly much longer than what I need it to do here. But that just kind of helps add strength, because this is pretty taut here, this string that goes all the way down to the other end. So again, what I do, for those of you who may not seen the original video where I use this string, I find this much easier to do than doing the 3, 4, 5 triangle, you know, to try and make sure that you know, your first sheet of sheet metal here is square. So I square it up to the side, but then I primarily square it up against this line here that goes across the cabin. So that's just kind of how I do it. I don't know. I'm sure there's something wrong with it. I don't know, but it turns out pretty well. I've never had any problems with it. So the string right now is about 1 inch and 9/16 or so from the drip edge here. And so that's so that when I bring it down, I could just barely tickle the line, and that'll give me about my 1.5 inch distance of overhang of what I'm looking for. So that's kind of how I do it. I'll set you guys up on a roof here a little bit. I'll get this first one up here, and we'll see how it goes. Well, guys, first piece is up, and it was a dumpster fire. I couldn't even get it on video here. I couldn't record it because as I was getting this sheet up here on the roof, I hit the camera and the camera went tumbling. So, but this will give you a good idea here of kind of what I'm looking for as far as lining this up. I hope this shows up okay. So you see the cord is just barely touching, you know, just kind of tickling that string there. So that's really what I'm going for. That'll help me line it up the whole way down. So I'm fixing to get up on top of the roof right now, make sure the length looks good and everything like that. Just kind of check everything over. I only have 2 screws in here right now, and again, we'll start from the eave side, the gable end here, and we'll work towards the middle. Just because the way this stuff is punched out, it does tend to, you know, fold over on itself. So all things I've learned since I've been doing this here. Cabin 3, let's hope I can get it right? So, yeah, let's get to it. All right, gang, got the first one up here all screwed in, looking great. And Rebecca came down, helped me out. I got the rest of the sheets up here on top of the roof now, so I won't have a debacle getting the sheets up here. It's funny how you do things. You don't do it for a while, and then all of a sudden you get back into it, and you're like, oh yeah, now I know why I did this or that, and there's a better way to do this. So it's like you're learning all over again. So I'll set you guys up. I'll time lapse you here, and we're going to work these sheets right across. Shouldn't be too long. All right, gang, just finished up the my last panel here on this side from the, I did have to cut some of it off. So from the top to the bottom, I was a 1/2 inch off. It was 25, just about 25 at the top, and then almost 26 at the bottom. So, you know, whether or not that wasn't square, or, you know, the roof wasn't perfectly the right size or whatnot, you know, that's just how it is. So yeah, you'll never see really any of this here along this edge, because there's going to be a, you know, I have a gable piece that I put over that, so that you know, whatever. I'm super happy with that. I have to I guess get on the ladder from the side. I'm not going to get on the metal part of the roof here. I just kind of step on it just to kind of test out my sneakers here about how tacky they are, and I just start sliding down the roof. So normally when I was stepping on things, I was stepping on the screw heads so that you know, I had a little bit of that traction. But I'm not gonna risk sliding down here just to get those last screws when I can get them from the. I'll just put the ladder up on the side and go get them from there. So it's just about lunchtime. I'm kind of like right on time of what I was hoping to get this back part done. Looks great. I couldn't, you know, it's great. It's great. I'm super happy with it. So now really certainly the more technical, complicated aspect of this whole roofing thing is, you know, getting everything around this dormer and stuff. I made the cut on that far end with my nibbler. It was honestly the first time I've had to use the nibbler. I usually use shears for it. It's very difficult to keep and hold straight. I mean, even just little wavy lines as I was, you know, making the cut. So I'm going to have to assess how I'm going to cut these panels, because here on the dormer, you know, I'm obviously going to have some angles here for the metal pieces that are laying flat down. And then once they reach the valley, and then obviously once the you know, the top of the dormer comes down into the valley as well. So I've got quite a few cuts ahead of me, so I need to figure out the best way to kind of do that. So yeah, well, let me get to work. All right, guys, about to start on my first panel here on the front. I just want to kind of orient you guys to what's going to happen here. So a full panel is going to go here, but you can see I've got this where the eave kind of sticks out on this side, and then it comes down to the porch. So there's going to be a fairly good sized section of it that's got to be cut out. And then I'll have, you know, any sloped area there, I'll have gable trim there, and then gable trim down here. I've got drip edge here I just put in, and then drip edge along the front there as well. So the panel is down on the ground there. I just put all the holes in it, measured it out for my the strapping that's here, the purlins, and well, I need to get it up here. It's getting windy, and that's not it's not the best, but I'll get it up here. I'll square it up as best I can here. I've got my string line down along the front there, 1.5 inches. And yeah, well, we got to get it up here and kind of see what we get into. All right, guys, I got this first panel up here held in with one screw over there on this side. So I spent the last 15 or 20 minutes really trying to figure out the best way to kind of align this to where I can score a line underneath where this needs to be cut out. So I'm pretty close, you know, I'm aligned along that edge up here as far as I can, and then down along the pink line that's down there on the drip edge. So what I've done, I've gotten up on the ladder underneath it and kind of marked a line up this. This would be the porch line up underneath it right there, and then I got to go out to where the 1.5 inches. I'm going to have an 1.5 inch hangover over that soffit that's there on this gable end. So, you know, I did the best I could. The line coming up is square. You know, I can use the lines on the panel to help, you know, make a straight line, which in turn, you know, you try and keep square with this edge up here, all the while keeping enough gap, you know, up here, down there, all around. And I'm to the point now where I'm gonna undo this screw, and I've got it marked. Like I said, I have it marked on the bottom, and because I want this where the drip edge, that's the only one that I really am concerned with as far as keeping it nice and square and pretty. This one that goes down along the side here, not really too concerned with, because I'm going to have that rake edge cover that up a little bit. But I want the drip side here to be pretty square. So I got my grinder up here, and we're going to undo this here, flip it over, make some straight lines, and we're going to grind this piece off. Let's do it. Well, gang, there it is. Only thing I kind of regret with all that is not having hearing protection in. That was loud. Cutting that with the grinder, that was definitely louder than what I was thinking. So I'd like to put in a couple screws kind of along this area here, and maybe one more down along that side, probably kind of towards the end there. Again, that'll be hidden by that rake trim that's going to be installed there. And then yeah, I think everything else looks pretty good. Again, rake trim's going to go on this edge here, so I'll have that edge screwed down much better. Lined up really nice down there on my little pink string, and I think it's great. Well, so here's really where the fun begins now. So I've got the valley here. Having never worked with this stuff like this before, I'm going to assume that the valley's got to go in first before I put the next sheet on. The next sheet, I will have an angle cut on it, but only kind of towards the end of it. You know, less than halfway down the sheet, I'm going to have an angle which is going to fit into that valley. So I got to get the valley mounted. Again, not quite sure how I'm going to cut the end down there. Also not sure how I'm going to cut the end up here. But got to figure it out. Let's do it.